Hi everyone, how are you? Getting down to well, we are down to the 12 days of Christmas, right? So, I really had to take a break. I'm telling you, what I saw the other night just absolutely infuriated me because I realize that I'm still kind of Pollyanna ish. I believe that the truth will always win, that people don't lie for nefarious reasons. They lie little white lies. And there's just a simple and good explanation for them that the people don't just lie to people that they love to lie. And that when something bad happens, you call the police and they get the bad guy. And that all would go to say that when someone goes missing, no matter the color of their skin, we all bleed red, so everybody should get the same amount of attention and have everybody look for them, canvas neighborhoods, etc., etc. And I guess what really shook me was when I saw how much Shanann's mother really honestly was running the show. She's the master of puppets. She's pulling everybody string by string. She did not know the name of the supposed mistress, or as I like to say, the person that Christopher Watts began seeing when his wife left, emotionally or otherwise. As soon as she started screwing around, maybe he started screwing around. When she was physically gone, her attentions were most likely on the man who was the father to the baby she was carrying. So why shouldn't he also be paying attention to another? Because Shanann's mother did not know NK's name is the only reason that NK isn't under the jail, because SR was crafting this. She was directing this. And what's her credentials? Where is her law enforcement background? What agency does she work for? When I did my the story about how I was invested in MMIW, um, missing and murdered Indigenous women, um, I got jumped by strangers and trolls because they saw that I also cover Watts. And so they jumped me and said, how dare I, when I, you know, care about a white lady that everybody stopped everything and looked for, and how dumb I was, blah, 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 blah. Like, they judged me that fast. These assholes judged me that fast just because they saw that I do videos on the Watts. They thought that I was in that vernacular of saying that SW was a frickin' saint. They just saw that. They didn't realize it. No, I am proving that this was a miscarriage of justice, and that, well, of course, Shanann is not responsible for her deaths, and certainly for her death, and certainly not responsible for the death of the girls. But there is something very wrong with what happened in the whole entire justice system. And I agree that anybody who is missing, and missing for a significant amount of time, should get the same amount of attention that she did. That it's funny because you guys know who I am and what I stand for, and isn't it funny that those people took that stance with me and wrote me really, really bad things, and so I backed off. I backed off of my MMIW. I helped the family that I helped, and I know my little circle of people that I help, in that realm, but I was really energetic and hopeful to raise more awareness for MMIW. And once I got attacked like that, I backed down. I see why people back down. It's ridiculous. And the two really serious threats that I got, because I don't like to bother um, the family that I helped with the petty harassment that I get. And I'm used to getting a lot. Um, so I don't bother them with the petty stuff. But the two that concerned me the most, because one of them has a channel on YouTube that has about 30,000 people. And the things she said to me were disgusting. And she inferred that, she was besties with the girl that I helped and blah, blah, blah. So I showed the name of her. And then when I traced it down, it was really only two. It looked like it was two separate ones. But when I looked at it, the second one was just a flying monkey of the main. So I got a significant amount of harassment, but the two worst ones were these ones. And I did make the choice to show what was threatened to me to the family, and every single family member that has seen it says they've never heard the names of those people, that those names of those people that are saying that they were so close to Jessica weren't. And so it's really interesting, and it shows how quickly people's minds close, because they just think that I'm just some dumb white girl that just thinks that, Shanann Watts was just this wonderful housewife, and it's a shame what happened to her, and all of us better be good and make the sandwich right, because if we don't, then our man is going to get mad and could take out the whole family just like a rabid dog. The idea behind that narrative goes back to patriarchy from the time that the Mayflower hit the coast. Okay? If we allow that narrative, because I was speaking with someone the other day, and I didn't share with them all that I do with this case and whatnot, but we were talking about it, and she heard that the reason why SW got strangled that night was because she said no to sex when CW went upstairs. That, and she told me that, she saw it on the documentary. And then when we talked about, how the narrative is so ridiculous, we talked about how Netflix has this narrative then, and it also goes back. It goes back to, who owns those big stations and Netflix and whatnot. And, it's the big few people that own every single thing, and they're owned by men, and they go by these things that make the headlines. And if it makes a good headline, it sells. And it made a good headline that this, all white family of 4 is devastated because the pregnant mom goes to visit her mom and dad because she's pregnant again, and brings the girls. And then while she has gone on vacation, her husband did some very, very bad things. And so when she came home, and then he asked her to put out, and she wouldn't, and damn it, he ruined the whole family. Just killed them all, put them in the back of their truck, and this is wrong. No investigation to prove what happened here. I like to think, in my Pollyanna way, and I said this when I was on the channel that forgets that I was on that channel, because, just thinking Lady Justice is fair and good, but me and my naive ways. So before I got put in exile there, I asked, because I assumed this person was what they had said that they were in their profession. So I said, isn't it true that when a married woman and her children go missing, that the investigators do 2 different simultaneous investigations, where one, of course, looks at the person closest to them, because most often it is the person closest to them. So one person works to rule in or out the husband, boyfriend, significant other, or if it's a man, then, the wife, girlfriend, whatever. And if it is not them, then they're building their case either way. And then the second investigative team would be out there doing a simultaneous investigation, saying that it happened from a stranger, that this was the stuff of nightmares, that the boogeyman came in the night and did this and that. And then I would like to think that every morning over coffee and donuts, they sit there and they hash it out and say, okay, well, my investigation says this. Well, it couldn't be that because this. Well, what about this and what about that? And they're doing this, and the prosecutor and the defense, for the state and whatnot, are going, okay, this makes sense. This theory is okay. This won't hold up. This will hold up. I need you to go and do this and that. That's the way I thought things would go. And maybe that's because I watch too much TV. Because it appears to me that some master of puppets, master manipulator in North Carolina sat there and called out and started telling them who to arrest, when to arrest, what to look for. And they did. And they made the investigation tailored to what she said. And that became just so very apparent where I was reading. And of course, I know this case. I've heard this and that, and I've heard this and that, and I've seen this and that. But I have somewhat of a photographic memory, kind of Rain Man-ish, if you will, which is good for some things, not so great with others. But I needed to see all of this with my own eyes so that when I hear this or that, I can say, okay, it started from this. And I know that I saw this here and I saw this there. And I can tell you that out of this 1,960 pages, where I'm at 204, I can tell you that I've earmarked about 7 to 10 pages where I said I'm going to put those in pictures on Instagram just so they're easier to reference and you guys can see them as well. So there's a lot of fat around this bacon. Why do I keep thinking of pigs? Oh. Anyway, I'm disgusted. I guess I don't like to believe that the world is so twisted and that we're all at risk of this. And someday when I tell you guys all about me and everything like that, you'll understand why this scares the shit out of me. Being falsely accused of anything is something that really, really hurts me. And it hurts me when I see that it happened to somebody else. And I mean, there is no doubt circumstantial evidence that points to Christopher Watts either doing this or being involved. But I do not believe that he could have possibly done this in the time frame stated. I believe there's other people involved. I also believe that if he did it, he would have had a reason to be guilty by reason of mental defect, mental insanity. If it all would have came out who was all involved, what was really going on, this would have been a much bigger story. But you know what? Nobody wanted that story because everybody was getting rich on these headlines that they were selling. They were pimping these headlines and they were pimping this story. And who was making this story? That mother of Shanann pushed this false narrative that made these headlines. And after those headlines were out there, how much money did they get? How much money did they get from the GoFundMes? How much money did they get from the insurance that they put on the little girls because she first had this dream that this was exactly what was going to happen to him. And that damn Christopher, even though he looks like a good dad, he's gonna pour oil on him. Yeah, he's just gonna one of these days just go and do this. And you know what? Maybe because she knew what all the shit her daughter was pulling, she was saying, you know what? I wouldn't be doing this if my husband worked in a place where it'd be easy to dump my body. My God, he might get so mad he'd do the girls too. Maybe she was saying that, you know what, you're lying so much and you got this much hiding, he's gonna lose his shit and he's gonna end up doing this to you. Maybe that's how. I don't know. But I will tell you this, when I saw that her doctor's appointment was not at 8:30, not at 9, not anything else. Her doctor's appointment was at 10, and NA called in at 9 o'clock saying she had missed that appointment because that was part of the original dialogue. I've got to find where it was stated and what she said, but I know that she said that she missed her appointment. And the first time she called in was 9 o'clock and the appointment was until 10, how'd she know that? How did she not know that, let's say, that she went to go and start the car and the battery was dead, so she had somebody pick her and the girls up? Okay, well, the car seats shouldn't have been in there. Well, how would she know the car seats were in there? Oh, because she had her son stand on top of a vehicle and look in. And neighbor Nate didn't say anything? No, because neighbor Nate was looking the other way while they were all doing this and playing freaking Scooby-Doo all over that house. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, the reason why I got unfairly judged by the MMIW people, that, now don't get me wrong, there's MMIW that very much do amazing work, and they saw what I did, and I have friends within that they know what I did and I know what they do, and I respect them so much, and they would never condone the threats that I get. The problem is that there's people within that, and there's people within every movement that make it bad. Just like BLM, there are people who believe in the base cause, and then there are the people who just go out there and ruin it and give the cause a bad name. In everything there is that. But the reason why they hated me is because they're in a position where they report their loved ones missing, and they know that something wasn't right about where they were last seen, etc., etc. And maybe it's been 3 days or whatever, and the cops are like, yeah, and they probably just ran away. Oh, yeah, well, they're probably doing this, probably doing that. Why do I care? Why don't you call me back when they're missing a couple weeks? You know what I mean? No, they would not ever. And I have never heard of a case where the person wasn't even actually missing and they started telling the cops to stop everything and go start looking. Because if she dropped her off at 2 in the morning and she's calling at 9 a.m. saying, yeah, I can't find her, I can't do anything, they're probably like, she's probably hiding from you, taking a fucking nap. Go away. What are you doing? So that's why the lies came in that she had diabetes and that she was ill and she had this. No, she hadn't been to the doctor for the entire pregnancy that she was saying she was 15 weeks on. She was actually only 11 weeks, but she had not been to the doctor the entire time. That is proven over and again. And she didn't ever have diabetes. But they said she did. They lied. Diabetes is one of those things where they will act quickly because, somebody can collapse so fast. So they crafted these lies. And that's lying to a police officer. That's punishable by law. Why aren't these lies looked at? Why were these lies crafted? It doesn't make sense. So anyway, thank you so much for giving me a couple days on that. And I am so sorry because when I walked off, because I don't smoke or drink or anything, I had to just go and cuss a lot and scream and watts out a lot. And when I came back, I couldn't figure out how to splice the two videos. So there was an abrupt stop, which I ended up labeling 7A, and then the next one was 7B, and 7B took forever to come up, and I am really sorry about that confusion there. And without further ado, I'll shut up and we'll go to, we'll start with Watts Discovery, Part 8, and we will begin on page 204 out of 1960. And if you haven't liked and subbed, please, it's my Christmas wish. Will you please subscribe to me? Please. I'm so excited. I'm up to 790. I was up to 791 last night, and somebody must have been like, yeah, I don't like you after all. And they just freaking, they dropped me like a hot potato. So I'm at 790. I'm so close. Because that's the other thing. When the people attack for that, they said that, oh, I'm making all this money and I'm doing this, and and I had like 500 subs at that point or whatever, and I was like, I have 500 subs. I'm not. They were like, yeah, the fact that you're bragging about that shows that you're all in it for the money. I'm like, I have not ever made 1 cent on my YouTube channel. I'm not trying to exploit anybody. I have never made a cent with all of the time that I put into helping somebody who was a stranger to me, who what was happening broke my heart. And I figured that, you know what? I see something that I can do here. And I did. And, I got some heat right away because I'm white. And they were like, wait a minute, you're not Native? And I said, look, yeah, I'm not. So you know what? I know how they play. Let me play them. Let me say the things that if you say, they don't listen. Let me stand in front of you. Let me take this for you. Let me fight for you. And it worked. And we made some headway. And we took a very dangerous person off the streets. Not for the alleged murder that we can say that we know by 99% that he frickin' did. But I saw that there was a little loophole that we could put him back in prison for his parole violations. So, you know what? If the ends justify the means and we put him back in prison because of this, wonderful. They wouldn't because, oh, yeah, this judge has all this stuff on his table and blah, 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 blah. So I had to find out who the judge was, and try and get that judge admonished. But that's the things I could see and I could do. And with our different ways of seeing things, we can come together and work together even if our skin color isn't the same. And I have so much respect for the Native people. And like I say, I never have made a cent, and I wouldn't make a cent. I wouldn't do that. So I understand their frustration. And I think that it's important that they know that we see that this is wrong too, because even for other people that we've known in our lives, I'm sure that each of you can think of a case where you've been worried about somebody and you call and they used to go by the old 24-hour rule or something else, or infer that, it was that person's fault that they were missing, or what don't you get, kids run away all the time, or maybe somebody wants to be alone. You ever thought of that? Just things like that. You get insulted. You don't get people to take you seriously like they did in this. And it's just, it's really ridiculous to see how she was treated differently, but because of the lies. So, yeah, if you ever want to listen to that, I did do that recording on MMIW, the story of Jessica. And I did my recordings of Casey Anthony's letters to Robin Graham. So if you're watching the Peacock network, it's kind of interesting to see how Casey has really grown up. She's really mature. She's lived with one of the investigators' family for 10 years. So she's been shown unconditional love and taught mature ways to get approval and a way to conduct herself with decorum and find comfort with herself I don't know that I 1000% believe all of the things that she's saying about her father. I think there's definite dysfunction, and I think that George was a little slimy. Maybe slimy as slug, but yeah. So there are those things to listen to. And I put them in playlists too, and ultimately I'll put the Discovery in a playlist too. So anyway, when we start over here at page 204 of 1960, we've got the Office of the Coroner's badge on there, and it's got the medical stamp, and it says evidence chain of custody, and it's on a yellow form. And it starts out, and it's got a printed out sticker, and it says Watts Shanann, female, date of birth 1/10/84. And it says FND 8/16/1834. So I don't know what FND stands for because it must be like something deceased, or because I don't think that FND would be found. You know, it's something probably with something deceased. And then it says WCCO, and it's hyphen, and it says 18 TAC 435 AW18 TAC 155. And then it says auto 8/17/18, and it says MAB /JW. And then it's handwritten, and it says source of evidence. The autopsy is done, and it says like McCree, handwritten, recovered by Joey Warner. It says 8/11/18, which must be 17. This is scanned in, and it's not very clear. And it says time 10/20, agency WCCO. So what, Weld County Coroner's Office? I'm real smart. And so then it's got some stuff, and it's going here. And if you are sensitive to how do I describe this without being more insensitive? If you are sensitive to autopsies and medical discussion, you may want to take a little break here. It doesn't look too bad so far, but it might get there. So we have the item of the blue thong type underwear, and it was found on her body. We have the purple and white cotton t-shirt, something with a peace sign and a heart design. It's all scanned in, so like I say, it's hard to read, and I'm just reading it as fact. I know what these things may or may not be, but I'm doing it as here. So, and it says location found, body. And then it says the black bra on her body, the white metal post nose ring with clear stone, left nair, brown paper bag on the right hand and a brown paper bag on the left hand, and a sheet was in the body bag. That is items 1 through 7, and then we're going to go up here, and it's going to be 8. And this is where you're going to kind of want to walk away, because number 8 is fingernails. And it was from her right hand, and the fingernails from her left hand. And the Palmer swabs on the right hand. Palm swabs. That's what it looks like it says. And then palm swabs from the left hand, and then face swabs. And then 13 anterior neck swabs. And then something swabs. And then 15 says an x-ray disc. And then 16 says a DNA card, CBI. And then 17 says fingerprints. And then 18 says anterior neck swab. And it says something clean. And then 19 says a fetus, CBI, and it says mom. Released by Joey Werner, received by, looks like it's a signature of like a David. Is that Baumhover? Received by Joey? It could be. In 817, yeah, Baumhover. There we go. All right, we got Baumhover back in here because now it says supplemental 48 at Baumhover. All right, we got Baumhover all over here. Here we are. Evidence chains of custody, and we've got Celeste here, and we've got the date of birth of 7/17/2015, and it was written wrong. It was wrong on the stamp that was printed. The stamp was printed 7/17/18 as her date of birth, and so they had to cross that out, and then they initialed it, and the FND is the 8/16/18 on hers, and it's in parentheses 3, so it's saying she's 3 years old. And it says WCCO 18 TAC 437, AW 18 TAC 157, Auto 8/17/18, MABJW. And it's saying the source of evidence for the autopsy is McKee, recovered by Joey Werner, so that must be the JW, and then the other must be McKee something for the autopsy, and that's on the 8/17, and it's WCCO. So then for her, she had the white underwear with Minnie Mouse on. She had a pink Spank t-shirt. Again, this is scanned in, and it's very, very blurry. It says face swabs dirty, face swabs clean, anterior neck swabs dirty, anterior neck swabs clean, oral swabs and vaginal swabs. 9 DNA card, 10 X-ray disc, 11 control swabs. And then we have where we have over here. Oh God, my computer's doing this again. Stop it. Oh, would you knock it? Knock it. Oh my God. It's doing this where it goes like way too far up, and then I can't like get right where I need to be. Someone's got to tell me what I got to do. Oh, there we go. Just real slow. Okay, so 12 says skin from right. And then left hand. We know this isn't here, but that she had degloving. That means when the skin comes off of your hand like a glove. And then 13 is saying that there was a diaper on her body. And released by Joey Werner, received by David Baumhower. Discovery page 251 if you're following along on that part. And then supplemental 48, Baumhover. And then we've got Bella and 12/17/13, FND 8/16/18, so she's 4. WCCO 18 TAC 436, AW 18 TAC 156, Auto 8/17/18, MAB /JW. So that's where we're getting into starting to see these initials fit together. And what we have for Bella is the pink pajama top on her body with a heart and butterfly. Number 2 is oil-soaked underwear on her body. 3 is a face swab clean. And neck swabs clean. 1 says, okay, interior neck swabs clean, anterior neck swabs dirty, face swabs dirty. 7 is oral swabs, 8 is vaginal swabs, 9 is left palmar swabs, 10 is right palmar swabs, 11 is left hand fingernail clippings. And that is where we go to 12. And 12 is the right hand fingernail clippings. And then 13, I think maybe says control. 14 says a DNA card. 15 says a X-ray disc. signed by Joey Weiner, received by David Baumhauer. Okay, so now we go into a real nice scanned in document, colors, and real nice and easy to read. Easy on these old highs. So 207 out of 1960. So what we have here is a supplemental, and it's by Officer T-Catch, Catherine A. T-Catch. And it says nature of call, agency AST. So maybe agency assistant. Okay, outside agency assistance. So this came from the Boulder County Sheriff's Office for case number 18, TAC 4894. It's a supplemental to the original, and it's the reported date 8/14/2018, and it has this big old red thing says that it is confidential. It says reported time is 10, and it says CAD call number 1-800-39260. Status closed. Nature of call, outside agency assistance. And it says the address of 2825 Saratoga Trail, City of Erie, 80516. So this is basically them calling in the canines. And let's go. So 2825. You never hear the city. You always hear Colorado and whatnot, but Erie, Colorado. And so we're saying that, so the dogs came over on the 14th. So they come over that night. Is that what we're trying to see here? Because it says the approval date is 8/20. Okay, so this doesn't make sense. So I'm going to break it down. So Area 6, Beat 6, from 8/14/2018, from time 10 o'clock, Officer 100417, T-Catch, Catherine A. Assignment, Parks and Open Space. Entered by 003441. Assignment, Law Enforcement Technician, confidential, and it says public RMS transfer successful. Prop Transat successful, property none. Approving officer 003124, approval date 8/20/2018. Approval time was 17/48/16. So this must be like a financial thing where she submits it to say we needed this outside resource for our budget or something, because this document is very, very official looking. And it says person summary. And it says involvement, victim number 1, Watts Shanann. It has an MNI number 1059043. Race unknown. Sex female. And then it says involved, it says like witness, which is interesting because then it says Watts Christopher, and it has 1059044, and it says no race, and it says male. Doesn't have their date of births. And the next thing it says is involved, and it says T-Catch Katie, and it doesn't have anything else. So it has person summary. So it has Watts, it has both Watts, it has Shanann and Christopher. One is listed as the victim, one is listed as the witness. And so what it says here for the summary narrative is case number 18, TAC 4894. It says Deputy Katie T-Catch, #K562. This report will detail a canine track during an agency assist for Frederick Police Department. Canine Scout and I responded to 2825 Saratoga Trail in Erie, Weld County, Colorado, to assist Frederick PD in locating a missing mother and her 2 children. Canine Scout and I found no trails leading away from the residence. We advised Frederick police officers of our finding and were released from the scene. Recommend case status closed. Now, one of our truth warriors here on Watts Island um, is giving information in the comments that is, really helpful, because what she said about the downstairs basement, her brother has a home in the same subdivision, and the kind of basement window that the Watts had, it's one of those, it's called like a garden basement, so it's like a garden window. So essentially, it's got the cement around the window box, and they often have a ladder to come out. Some have steps, but it's not like the kind of basement window that they make it sound like in the report. So I wanted to note that. And like in here, I'm wondering if they went and checked that back window. And then how could they see if there was like an unknown scent? I mean, does this canine, was this a cadaver or what? Like what were they tracking here? Because the basement window is a topic brought up a lot. And when you think of a window, you think of a window high up, whatever. But when you find out it's one of those garden ones, and I don't know if it has to be a climb out, so then if there's a fire, because there's not a door, it has to be more accessible. I'm not sure. I think that's what ours is technically classified at, in the basement. Ours has like the little ladder that can crawl up and out. I saw that and I'm like going, oh, I don't know if I want that with teenagers. But that's what they do now in basements. I think they have to make them really, really easy to get out in the case of a fire. So then this says printed by Thomas C. Rexon, printed at 8/22/18, pages 1 of 3, and it says the Boulder County Sheriff's Office, and it says victim person number 1, individual. Victim person number 1, Shanann Watts, and it says she is not of Hispanic origin. And then this is interesting too, because get this, it has a thing where it says domestic violence. It says no. So why is it that the Tamburglers going around the country in hotels and wherever else speaking as a subject matter expert for domestic violence? And technically this is domestic violence, and what I would love to have heard them talk more about how there is separation assault, and the victim of you're more likely to be a victim of domestic violence that ends your life than any other thing while pregnant. I guess those things should have been brought up, because they weren't. I will bring them up and I'll get you those stats, because it's funny they put domestic violence no, but they're obviously looking to see if he disappeared her. That would be domestic violence, but my goodness. Ooh, let's see here. Not of Hispanic origin. Domestic violence, no. Okay. And then over here we have witness number 1, individual Watts Christopher. And 1, he's not of Hispanic origin either. And it says domestic violence on his? No. Non-resident. And then it has her, and then it says her employer is BCSO, so Boulder County Sheriff's Office, and she is a deputy. And what her narrative here, which is smacked with this red confidential across it again, it pleases me to be able to read something out loud that says confidential across it. I like that. So anyway, on 8/14/18 at approximately 1000 hours, so 10 o'clock in the morning, Deputy Katie Tkach, was dispatched along with Sardis search and rescue dogs of the United States to respond to Frederick Police Department for a canine track. I obtained permission from Sergeant Mike Linden to respond out of the county with my canine Scout. Canine Scout is a bloodhound, certified in suburban trailing and human remains detection through Sardis. 2 other Sardis handlers responded with me. Okay, now I get my questions asked because we have a human remains detection and we have suburban trailing. So they would have gotten if they went in a direction and if there was human remains. Okay. Upon arrival, officers explained that a pregnant female named Shanann Watts, 34 years old, and her 2 young daughters had been missing since 05:30 hours on 8/13. Okay, so when they called in the canine, this was one full day. They called in the canines then at the 24-hour mark. Look at this. This is notable because it says upon arrival, officers explained that a pregnant female named Shanann Watts, 34 years old, and her 2 young daughters had been missing since 05:30 hours on 8/13/18. Who was saying that they were gone at 05:30 hours? Is that because they were last seen where Christopher's alibi was that they were there when he left, and he left at 5:30 in the morning? So who says that they were missing from 5:30 in the morning? Interesting, right? That may be a real point of interest that we're going to need to look at again. Because page 209 of 1960 says missing at 05:30 a.m. 8/13. If Christopher Watts did not report them missing, because he's saying they were there when he left at this point. The first call they had was from Nicole at 09. We know that. So who is saying this 05:30? Says her vehicle was still at the house, along with her cell phone and any additional clothing or items for the children. Frederick Police Officer Perez then escorted us to the missing woman's address at 2825 Saratoga Trail, Erie, Colorado. After consent was obtained by Christopher Watts, I entered the home with 2 Frederick police officers to collect scent articles to use for the canine track. All laundry had been washed or touched by Christopher. The beds had been made by Christopher since Shanann and her children had disappeared, making it difficult to find a scent article. I asked Christopher to point out their shoes. He showed me a pair of flip-flops that Shanann had worn from the airport. Now I'm gonna note here, we already heard this summation. We're just seeing it now with a little bit more floof, I guess, a little more details. And like I say, to see that detail there where they're saying that she's missing from 05:30 is interesting. Now it says, while wearing latex gloves, I placed a piece of sterile gauze in the flip-flops under the straps and let it stay there for a few minutes. Christopher also pointed out 2 pairs of shoes that his daughter had worn home from a pool party on Saturday. Christopher told me he had touched the shoes when he put them on the deck to dry. I placed a sterile gauze down inside the toe portion of each pair of shoes for a few minutes. After the time had passed, I collected the gauze and placed them in Ziploc bags. I exited the house. Christopher gave one of the Frederick police officers consent to have a canine search the house. Sardis member Jane searched the house with her canine for human remains. Boulder County Park Ranger Jeff Hebert also searched the house with his canine. Afterwards, Ranger Hebert and I attempted tracks with our canines, starting at opposite ends of the block. I scented Canine Scout on the gauze that I had collected from Shanann's shoe and told him, go find. We checked all surrounding intersections within a few blocks of the house. Canine Scout would either show a negative at the end of an intersection or walk along the edge of what appeared to be the scent pool. At one point, Canine Scout turned north from Windham Hill Parkway into a field between Saratoga Trail and Steeple Rock Drive. He circled the tanks in the field, but lost interest, and I brought him back to Windham Hill Parkway. We then continued checking intersections until we had completely circled the residence within the radius of a few blocks. Huh. Interesting. During the track, I did not locate any scent trails leading from away from the house. Ranger Hebert and his canine came to the same conclusion. I traced our path on a map provided by Frederick officers and gave it to Officer Perez and advised him of our findings. We were released from the scene. Nothing further. Case closed. I don't think that they had good enough sense. I mean, sure, maybe Shanann's from her feet because she always wore the flip-flops. But if the girls wore those shoes home from a pool party, wouldn't they have chlorine on their feet and that washing off most of the scent? Plus, Christopher said that he touched them. I would think that there would have been something else they could have grabbed. I understand he made the beds, but what about the mattresses themselves? I don't think that, but I'm no canine expert. So now we come here, and it's a record request from Thomas Rexon, printed at 8/22/2018. And it has this little sticker saying man trailing. And so what it is a diagram of where the canines went. And it just shows in red where they went, and it has a little black and white flag where they began and where they walked around. Now, this is interesting because it says the track details, the conditions, and it says the clear sky, the temperature of 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Why was it 32 degrees Fahrenheit in August? (32 degrees Fahrenheit). What in the world? Okay. So here we go on 2/11 of 1960. It states 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's saying that that was at 10 in the morning. I'm going to have to check that out. Discovery page 256. Because then they're doing this on 8/14/2018. So I'm going to look it up and see what the weather was on August 14th, because I don't think it was 32 degrees. say? Okay, here you go on the next page. The next page states 81 degrees. Well, why is one stating it's 32 degrees? That's how accurate these things are. So they're just both submitting pages that have the little map of where they went and what their dogs did and how long they're says that they, like the conditions and stuff like I was just stating. Now we're just Discovery page 257, and it says incident report, and it's from the Decano Police Department, and that's in Decano, Colorado. Could be Decano. But it says the event reported on 8/14/2018, time reported 0000, time dispatch 000, time arrived 000, time completed 00000, and it says 2825 Saratoga Trail, Frederick, zip code. Okay, why are you calling it Frederick and then sometimes it's Erie? Is it kind of like mine where it's 3 different cities at any given time? And the grid is Highway 52. There we go. In-person report. And it's another agency. Saratoga Trail, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and it's a narrative written by Jackie Boyer on 8/15/2018. And it says, on August 14th, 2018, I assisted Frederick Police Department by downloading the phone of Christopher Watts. Ooh, that could have some good stuff on it. When I'm stressed, I brush my hair, and I'm stressed about reading this. So if you hear me brushing my hair wildly, that's what I'm doing. So anyway, Frederick Sergeant Albert brought the phone over. Sergeant Albert stated they had permission to search the phone and that he would send a copy over at a later date. I used the Sustine equipment provided by the Decano Police Department. The download began at 21:17 hours and was completed at 21:33 hours. I saved the report onto a thumb drive that was given to Sergeant Albert. I did not review or interpret the information for him. Oh, why not? I would have looked. The Frederick case number is 18 TAC 06743. Any information will be added to a supplemental report. Supplemental narrative is written by Jesse Lambert, date written 8/23/2018. On 8/25/2018 at about 0700 hours, I compressed the secure view phone download of Christopher Watts to a zip folder and uploaded it to evidence.com. Nothing further at this time. Ooh, I wish we could see that. Maybe it's in the Discovery, but I'll see here. Okay, now we're going over to 214, Discovery page 259, incident report. And what do we have here? So now we have from the Saratoga address, and it is reported at 10:53 on 8/16. Time dispatch 00000. So it's an incident report from the Firestone Police Department. So it looks like they're all saying, hey, we all helped you. We want our money. That's what these things are saying. Because it says it was reported through a 911, and it says it was outside their jurisdiction on shift D, so day, in the district of Firestone. And it says the Firestone Police Department in Decano, with the initial investigator, William DeWitt. The follow-up investigator was William DeWitt. Well, he followed up on his own work. That's teamwork. Classification completed. Assist other agency. Subclass assist other agency. So, and it says other investigations. It says Watts Shanann, her address. And then it says other like INV, so involvement, whatever. And it says Christopher Watts. And then it has Bella Watts. Their address is in Celeste. And it says they're all non-Hispanic. And here is his narrative. So here we are. Gotta get a drink of my Gatorade, and it is Glacier Cherry, which is actually white. So it's a good flavor of Gatorade. Okay. So on the morning of August 14th, at approximately 9:30 a.m., I, Corporal DeWitt, was contacted by Sergeant Bedsall with the Frederick Police Department via telephone. Bedsall requested that I conduct a search with our small unmanned aerial system. S, capital UAS. So again, that's small unmanned aerial system. On the area west of 2825 Saratoga Trail, which is located in the town of Frederick, county of Weld, state of Colorado, for a missing female and her 2 daughters. What I'm assuming there is it's their drone. So anyway, Bedsall advised me that a pregnant mother, Shanann Watts, date of birth unknown, and her 2, 3, and 4-year-old daughters, Celeste Watts, DOB unknown, and Bella Watts, DOB unknown, were missing from the residence and had been missing since Monday afternoon. Oh, Monday afternoon now, not Monday at 05:30, huh? See how this game of telephone goes? Bedsall advised me that the Shanann Bedsall advised that the Shanann had not taken a vehicle, and her purse, phone, and wallet were still at the residence. Bedsall advised that Shanann and her husband, Christopher Watts, date of birth unknown, had been civilly discussing divorcing and had an, in parentheses, emotional discussion the night before she and the kids went missing. I responded to the intersection of Summit Lane and Billings Avenue and set up SUAUS Matrice 1 and completed the UAV mission checklist. So they must have put the drone on a mission. And maybe its name is Matrice. Oh, yes, they did. I deployed Matrice and searched the area between Highway 52 on the south, Weld County Road, WCR, so Weld County Road 5 on the west side of the Wyndham Hills subdivision, and approximately Holly Street on the north. I flew at various altitudes and started by flying north to south and moving in increments to the west, then allowed me to overlap the areas I already searched. I then flew random patterns focusing on the canal, ditches, and bodies of water in the search area. I was unable to locate anything in the search area that appeared to be related to Shanann, Celeste, or Bella. I contacted Bedsall and advised him of my findings. No further action at this time. W. DeWitt, TAC 11, hashtag 11TAC02. Case management. The initial investigator and the current investigator are both William DeWitt. Report status approved. Approved by Bryce Borders. Date approved 8/23/18 at 08:12. And this is the approval history, and it goes through and it says Bryce Borders, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 statuses. So, like I say, I think this is just them going back and forth to the different counties saying, okay, we use this, we want compensation. However, the state or counties go back and forth and shift those dollars. So now we're in another incident report, and we are over here on 8/20 at 13:30, and time dispatched and time arrived are both 00. And it says it's in Firestone outside of jurisdiction, reported through a 911. And what it says is assist Frederick Police Department with searching well site near Rogan with sows. So they went to a well site. So And it lists the victims again. So Celeste, Bella, Shanann, and then Chris is listed, but it doesn't have him listed separately. It's just other INV. So then we're page 262. And this is written by William DeWitt. Did you see where my brain just went? It went to say Witten instead of written because his name is DeWitt. On August 15th, 2018, at approximately 2 p.m., Commander Borders and myself, Corporal DeWitt, met with Agent Matt Saylor and Agent Greg Zenter from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, parentheses CBI, and a representative from Anadarko, Luke Epple, DOB unknown, at the Love's truck stop in Hudson, Colorado. Oh, so there they go. You guys ever seen a Love's truck stop? They're really cool. They've got showers and everything so the lot lizards can clean up after servicing each cab man in a cab. So the semis can go and get serviced. So the semis can go and get their driver serviced, and they can get their semis washed and their undercarriages cleaned with the showers inside. And there's usually, quite cool gift shops. I love this brand of cards, but called Lean and Tree. And they're actually based in Colorado, so they're called Lean and Tree. And cool gift shops have them. So I always go to whatever, I'm a lot lizard. Why don't I just say that? And then later somebody will clip that. I'm a lot lizard, and I know of every gift shop that has been known to. Anyway, I'm just saying that the Love's truck stops are actually really cool because they have all kinds of things. Check them out if you see them. And then we were requested by Commander Dave Egan with the Frederick Police Department to assist in searching the area around an oil well site located at latitude 40, 21, 625 and longitude negative 104, 3669B. Okay, so how did they have those well site latitude and longitudes noted? Where is this generated from? Because lat and long, the latitude is 40.21625. If they were getting this information, which they were, that said, we believe Christopher's pouring oil on him right now because he works there, how would she know which two oil things would be in question? How did they know? How did these three go and have a freaking sausage party with each other? Because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've got 5 law enforcement officers, so you've got the CBI, and you've got, the different investigators. So you have an alphabet party of badges at a sausage party sitting there with a rep from Anadarko at the Love's truck stop. So they're all sitting around there, probably got their khaki pants on and their pagers. And can't you just see it? Khaki pants, collared shirt, high and tight hairdos, sipping the black coffee. And they say that they want to search an area around a well site located at this longitude and latitude. I don't like to speak ahead because I'm trying to go through this, but I'm going to do this on this occasion because I thought that those were the two oil things that were scheduled to be decommissioned, in that there were several oil rigs on the Anadarko property. So how did they know that they wanted to check these two? And it says here, we were requested by Commander Dave Egan with the Frederick Police Department to assist in searching the area around an oil well site located at latitude 40.21625 and longitude -104.36698. It's either an 8 or a B, but I'm assuming it's an 8, but it looks like a B, which is located in County of Weld and State of Colorado. Okay. So it's longitude. We're going to go here with this negative. I'll write this down. 104.36698. And that's in Weld. And that's in Colorado. I don't see where they got that. But I'm going to try and find that anywhere else in here. I'm going to, I'll try and tease some searches out with those things. When I'm not live, I'll try and play around a little bit with those two search latitude and longitude with their small unmanned aerial system. So they want to take up their drone, and that drone is probably what took that picture that showed the sheet. How did they know that? So it's located in Colorado with our small unmanned aerial system for anything that might be related to the disappearance of Shanann Watts and her two daughters, Celeste and Bella Watts. Okay. Luke led us out to the site, and Greg confirmed that we had permission from Anadarko to search the area. Okay. Greg advised us that on the morning before Shanann, Celeste, and Bella were reported missing, Christopher Watts had come out to this well site for work, which had been confirmed with the GPS in his work truck. Okay. So, did they get that latitude and longitude from his GPS? Because let's say it again. Luke led us out to the site, and Greg confirmed that we had permission from Anadarko to search the area. Greg advised us that on the morning before Shanann, Celeste, and Bella were reported missing. So the morning before is Sunday. Christopher Watts had come out to this oil site for work, which had been confirmed with the GPS in his work truck. Why would he have went there on Sunday? Because they were reported missing Monday. So it's in this document is very significant as well, and I will put that in the Instagram when I get everything all uploaded. And because so he was at the work site on Sunday. Is that where the rumors of the girls being possibly unalive the day before come from? This is deep. My mind is churning it. My mind's got something stuck in the cog. When we arrived at the site, Luke explained the layout of the site. The site was surrounded by a barbed wire fence, and the main site was within that fence. On the south side of the site was the well. To the northeast of the well was a separator, and to the northwest of the separator was a small tank that was open on top with a net over it that held water, and two larger tanks that were directly to the west of the water tank that held oil and water. Luke explained the water in the smaller tank was removed from the larger tanks as the oil and water separated, leaving primarily oil in the larger tanks. Oh yeah, we know oil and water doesn't mix. Myself and Borders set up Matrice 1, SAUS, and Borders completed the UAV mission checklist. Borders piloted the SAUS first and started by taking overall photos of the area and the oil well site. Borders then began a systemic search inside that fenced area and started by flying over the south side of the site. Within a few minutes, Borders discovered what appeared to be some type of white cloth fabric in the field to the south of that site. Borders hovered over the white fabric and requested I walk out there to where the fabric was to see if I could determine what it was. As I was walking south towards the material, I came across an area where the ground had been visibly disturbed, as if someone had been digging there. I pointed out my findings to Sailor. At that time, Borders requested that we come back to the vehicle as he had been able to get close enough to the material to identify it as a bedsheet. Greg advised us during their search of the Watts' residence that morning, there was a fitted sheet that was missing from a bedsheet set that was found in the trash. I advised Greg of the area we had discovered where the ground was disturbed. Okay. Why wouldn't they have then dug? Because they obviously just found where the body was. Why would they have then sent this to him, had them say, yeah, that's where I did that, if they could see that the ground had been disturbed? Why wouldn't they have called out their forensics and started digging? I then took control of the SAUS and photographed the well site from the south, incorporating the sheet and the disturbed ground into my photographs. I also took close-ups of the disturbed ground and located the head of the rake in the dirt. I later located the handle of the rake to the east of the disturbed dirt. Borders and Sailor went out into the field to verify that the item was a sheet. They approached the sheet by circling around the fence line to the south and to the west and approached the sheet from the south. They were able to confirm it was a sheet and also located two black garbage bags with red drawstrings in the field near the sheet. After identifying the sheet, they came back to the vehicles the same way they went in. Later, Sailor, Borders, and myself went out to the field by circling around the fence line to the south from the west and approached the sheet from the south again. Sailor confirmed the pattern on the sheet matched the pattern from the Watts residence and that it was a fitted sheet, which was the type of sheet missing from the Watts residence. While we were waiting for further direction, Sailor came over and advised us that Christopher had confessed to killing Shanann, Celeste, and Bella. Sailor advised that he had disposed of the bodies somewhere in the area of the well site we were at. Oh, what a coincidence. Later, Sailor brought over his cell phone and showed Borders and myself the pictures. One of the pictures I had taken with Soares showing the disturbed ground and the well site in it. Sailor told us that Christopher had marked on the picture where he had disposed of the bodies. The disturbed ground had initials written on it, and each storage tank had initials written on them. Sailor stated that Shanann was buried where the ground was disturbed, and Celeste and Bella's bodies were each inside one of the tanks. Boarders redeployed the Souths and photographed the oil storage tanks where Celeste and Bella's bodies were presumed to be. CBI's crime scene unit arrived on scene and requested that we take more photos of the oil storage tanks and a video of the entire scene. I redeployed the Souths and photographed the oil storage tanks from various angles and then recorded a video showing the site from a 360-degree view and close-ups of the major areas of interest. That concluded the use of the Souths as well as the well site. All photographs have been attached to this report and saved in our digital evidence locker folder. The video was not attached to this report due to its size. The CBI's crime scene unit later requested assistance when they were exhuming what was presumed to be Shanann's body from the shallow grave. I assisted by moving sand and dirt away from the edges of the dig site as they unearthed the body. I had no further participation at the scene once the body was removed from the shallow grave. No further action taken at this time. And that will be where we will end right now. And we will begin on 220 on the next, because that is some stuff to digest. There's more whys and hows, because why wouldn't they? This is not, yeah. Like I say, my brain is stuck in the cog on this one. I'm going to have to think about this, but this will definitely be another one that I will put up on the Instagram. The Instagram is Tabitha Jane 0. Check me out over there. I'm just getting stuff started there. And like I say, please subscribe if you haven't already. Please like and subscribe. And we will pick up the next time on this. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be watching for them, okay? Thanks for listening. And we'll end. Bye-bye.